Welcome back everyone to another video, and I've been very excited since they announced the new carrot support in EB04, and this is going to be the day one deck list that I've been testing. As soon as they announced this, I've been testing this deck straight away, and this is going to be the list. So let's just get through with it. There's probably a lot of changes, but I just wanted to show you guys what I've been working on behind the scenes, and yeah. So, 4 copies of Wanda. This is your searcher. I think with the new cards from EB04 and EB03, you can definitely play this deck a lot more pure than you could have before. Before, you need to play things like 5-cost Smoker and like 9-cost Zoro, maybe some like Supernova 8-cost Kid package with Jewelry Bonnie Searcher, Kid Killer Searcher. But now you can definitely play a lot more pure since there are more targets and just more stronger things in general. We're going to be on 4 copies of this carrot, which is a searcher for stage for 4 copies of Zoe. A lot of the times, I do like to play this carrot over the Zoe, even if I do have the Zoe in hand already. I'll still try to play out the carrot, and you'll see why a bit later on with this card and another card, which is 4 copies of Milky. This plus the Sage is your Cavendish for the deck that basically can't really be removed. You rest this, restand the Dawn, and this restands the Dawn, and then at the end of the turn, this can restand the Milky. This is like Cavendish for the deck, which is very strong. And to round off 2Ks, we're going to be on 4 copies of the Tashigi. Just generally a really solid green card. And we'll talk about this card, which is 3 copies of the Bartholomew Kuma. This is still, I think, necessary in the deck as of now. Although, like, playing a 3-cost blocker, that's a 4,000 power, you can't swing with it, and it's actually not that strong. I do think this deck still needs a little bit of Psycho, as it still does have, like, a little bit of consistency issues, just as we're still trying to figure it out. The stages tend to get stuck in your hand if you don't play them off, like, very, very early on curve, or from a carrot, which there'll be a card later on which also plays out the siege. To try to fix this problem. But when you have multiples, because we're not going to be on 0-cost event, these do tend to get stuck in your hand. Now, for our Mink package, like our mid-game Mink package, we're going to be on 4 copies of 5-cost carrot. This is the bread and butter of the deck nowadays. And if you don't see this, you're going to have a very bad time. And you need to see multiple copies of this just to try and win the game. And for our 1 of 5 costs, we're going to be playing 1 Bonnie and 1 Inuyarashi. This Bonnie is just very good to stun it down on key turns, but it's not good enough that we play more than 1. Or should I say there's not a lot of room, because I would play it over the second Inuyarashi, but I just need another Mink name on 5. Which brings me to this carrot. This is the EB03 carrot. These are proxies. Of course, they're not available in English language just yet. And yeah, so what this card does is when you play it, activate main. If this character was played this turn, so it only works once. Plays around teachability, I guess. You can pop a rest of 5 cards or less. Obviously, this is meant to work with your leader. You play this if you don't have a main on field, leader effect rest, and pop it. And this art is beautiful, by the way. Such a great art as well. This also works with another card that we're playing. I guess I'll just talk about this now, which is Electroclaw, whatever you like to call it. This card is really, really strong. For 1 Dawn, and I can rest the card. Whether that card be a leader, a stage, or a character, or Dawn. I can give something -3 cost. This is very strange, because this card's like having cost reduction in green has really never came up, and this is only available in this one deck because your leader needs to be Mink and there are no other Mink leaders. So having cost reduction in green for the first time means this can in fact go ahead and pop a 8-cost character, and there's not a lot of big 8-cost characters, but if you have like 2 of these, the game is just like basically over, right? This is very strong, and I'm very excited for this card, because it is the first time that we're getting cost reduction outside of black. And more 6 costs, which is going to be this Trafalgar Law. This is another reason why these are so good, is that you can bounce and back play a carrot, and that's why we're playing multiple 5 costs. Because I do think this law is very good against like the likes of Ace and Black Emu. We have cut it down to 2 since it can be a little bricky. This card's kind of like, if you see it, it's fine. It's a lot better if you see it, but if you don't see it, that's fine too. This deck has other things to do now. And the other things in question is this. It costs Carrot. This is the new card that's coming out in EB04. A thing to note is that this is an EB03 plus EB04 build, because there are no events in EB04 format. So the next event that we're going to get is going to be within the EB03 format. So I might as well start testing the format that we're actually getting events in. And if you don't know what this does, on play, if your leader is the mink type, which is basically leader lock to Carrot at this point, I can restand 2 mink characters and my leader. So, for example, if I have a leader, a Carrot, and another Carrot, these can all swing, and then you can play this. This restands everything, and then you swing again, which means this 5-cost Carrot can in fact freeze 2 things in the 1 turn. And obviously this spirals if you have multiple of these 5-cost Carrots on field. And this deck does very well into the OP14 meta, because there's a lot more of a jungle meta. This card stuns things like the 7-cost Shanks. This can also pop 7-cost Shanks with Electric Claw. Against a deck like Blue Yellow Boa, where you don't really want to be, clearing their board to play into their leader effect. This combo is super, super strong. And our high end is going to be 3 Shanks and 4 Law and Beppo. Law and Beppo being the high end that's basically printed for this deck within the Bonnie structure deck. And this is just a great high end, again, printed in the structure deck of Green Uta. What Shanks does, which I'll talk about another replacement that I've tested for him, is that this is how you beat Ace, right? The Ace matchup can be a little difficult, but if you draw these, you're basically guaranteed winning. And this is basically for the Emu matchup. And this being able to swing twice is just super, super broken. A replacement that we quite liked in testing is this Dracula Mihawk, which in theory is a lot worse than Shanks, but this can freeze a 10 cost with Electric Claw. On 10 Dawn, I can go ahead and play this, use Electric Claw, tap down the Dawn, and for the additional cost, I can tap down the Mihawk, so I get the resting effect of Dracula Mihawk. And then minus it by 3, so whatever it is, doesn't matter, and I can use Mihawk ability to freeze it, since it is now no longer a 10 cost, right? So no matter what, it can go ahead and get reduced. Since it is 9 or less, there's not currently a 12 cost in the game just yet. But and the reason to play this over Shanks, even though Shanks is better in the long run, of course, this is every single turn. But the more importantly, this card lets you turn any card in your hand into a 2K, so you can start building your deck a lot more greedily without the likes of Bartolomeo, without the likes of this, with more copies of this Law, and then potentially more copies of 5-cost units like 5-cost Smoker if we're maxing out on copies of this. But for this build, we're not going to be playing it just yet. So I'm very excited for this leader, and I hope you are too. A lot of content from my channel might actually kind of end up being more focused on this leader for this upcoming set. So I hope you guys do enjoy this, do like this deck, because might be pumping out a lot of card content in the future. Yeah, hope you enjoy the list. Happy testing, and any changes you think you would recommend, I'm always open to try, so do leave it in the comments below. And let's win the regionals with this deck. Let's do it together.